My name is Tom Kelly. I'm a stand-up comedian whose life fell apart during the pandemic. But then I realized my life has been a mess for a long time. Here on the Tom Kelly Show, we laugh and learn as I take my midlife crisis and turn it into a midlife renaissance, and I take my 2020 lemons and turn it into 2021 lemonade. All right, friends, who wants to podcast today? You are listening to this, the 56th episode of the Tom Kelly Show, podcasting from the beach in Portland, Maine, somewhere in the greater Portland area. I don't want to give you my exact address because I'm up here for a little bit, and I don't want any of you to come find me and murder me. I'm very easy to kill right now. I guess I shouldn't probably say that to my fans or friends or listeners or enemies compiling details for a hit list, but I am in my vacation house. When I say my vacation house, I mean a vacation house that I am renting from somebody, and I love it. It's my dream house. This is my goddamn vision board come to life, people. I have the microphone, I have the soundboard, I have the laptop, and I have put them in a way so that I am looking straight out onto the ocean. I can see people walking their dogs on the beach. I see surfers. I see a police officer giving tickets to people who have parked badly. All of the things I want out of life. This is the image I've wanted from the damn pandemic. So I'm a little bit riled up. I'm doing the show differently today, and I'll explain that as I go through it all. But first, I'm not on vacation, I guess. Vacation's the wrong word. I am working remotely. I am working 2 jobs remotely. I did the Tamron Hall audience just a few minutes ago, so I'm a little bit riled up. First funny story is I asked Danny, who runs the audience for One Iota, which is a great way to get tickets to a lot of shows, not just wherever I'm working, but they are oneiota.com. A great way to get tickets to all the virtual and in-person experiences in the city that are slowly opening up. Anyway, they were taping the show a little bit earlier than usual, and I sent Danny a text. I'm like, hey, man, do you need me at 9 or do you need me at 9:15? And he says, and my line was, do you need me at 9? Do you need me at 9:15? And your answer will determine whether or not I shower. And he says, go shower, Tom, 9:15. Anyway, speeding through the story, I shower. I am using cheap hotel soap that I got at an expensive hotel at the Rittenhouse. I told you the story, the Rittenhouse in Philly. The one thing I got out of that expensive hotel room was I took all the soap, and I would save it for when I was bathing in a place with no soap. Anyway, here I am, 9:07, washing my face with the Rittenhouse Square hotel soap. Some got into my eye. You would have thought someone jammed a knife in my eye. As you know, I've been suffering from dry eye, so now my dry eye is not producing tears to wash the soap out. It was honestly the most painful ocular experience I have had in a long time. So my eyes are drying out. I can't open my left eye, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, am I about to call in sick to work because I got soap in my eye? I don't know. I went through that. And again, riled up. My birthday's coming up next week, the big 4-5. I did not want to tell my audience when my birthday is because, I don't know, I'm a weirdo with my birthday. I'm a weirdo with the exact day. I kind of have I celebrate it the way I want to celebrate it in that moment. And the funny with my birthday was I'm sitting there like, I don't want to tell you guys my birthday. I kind of played both sides of it. I told the audience my birthday's next week, but I'm not telling you what day. Anyway, somebody in the audience Googled me, found an entry from the year 2005 on celebritybirthdays.com. I feel like my nephew Christian put it in because my name is Tommy Kelly on it. And it describes everything I was doing in, actually, it might have even been 2006, 2007, because it mentioned opening for Miley Cyrus, and it mentioned the podcast I was working on, my old This Show Again podcast that I used to do with Andrew Garcia, Mike McGarrigle, and John McCann. So anyway, my birthday was exposed, and that's why I don't want to say exactly where I am on vacation, because I'm very easy to murder, people. Again, very easy to find, very easy to murder. So here's the ask on the show. Do you guys want me to be deep? Do you want me to be funny? I'm trying to combine the two. I kind of have screwed up with you, audience. I wanted to get you guys talking to each other, and I tried to create a community, and I think I was rude to a couple of my friends. I think I was a little bit rude to Marianne, a little bit rude to Diane, and a little bit rude to a couple of you guys when you were sending me direct messages when I was trying to get you guys to comment on the Facebook posts. So I apologize for that. Honestly, if you're listening and you like it, just find me however you can find me. It's more fun if you do it in public because I like to see everybody comment on each other's stuff. But TomKellyShow@me.com, Tom Kelly Show on Instagram, Tom Kelly Show on podcast.tomkellyshow. Anyway, find me, share this with your friends if you like it, and tag me, you know, all that stuff. You know what I'm asking for. I want to get this out here. I'll tell you something. The last couple of weeks of shows, I'll tell you which ones you should listen to. The numbers go up and down. The numbers are lower than they should be for episode 55 with Jen Gottlieb, who is my friend and teacher from my Super Connector class. We talked a lot about mindset and the secret and manifesting the life I want. And right now, I am looking at the ocean, and I have the life I want. My parents are healthy. I can call them. I have nieces and nephews, ages from 30 down to 8, who love me. My friend Krista Lennox kids, they love me. They call me uncle. They're not getting any birthday gifts out of me, but I love that they call me uncle. But anyway, we talked a lot about mindset and chasing goals last week. Also, you could probably skip episode 54. That was with comedians, and there was a little bit of comedian on comedian drama. We'll talk about that later. But that was more of a show for yucks. 53, another show for yucks. And then when we get to episode 52, 51, 50, those were deep shows. How to Not Die Alone with Logan Ury. Great show. Prison Break Life Coach. I had revelations on that show. And then Stacey London gave me the great phrase, I'm trying to turn my midlife crisis into a midlife renaissance. But last week, talking with Jen Gottlieb, I talked about a guy who has been on this show twice, James Altucher. He is half genius, half nerdy, idiot freak. I love the guy. And I think you guys, many of you guys, if you love me, would love him even more than you love me. He has a podcast, very successful podcaster. He's a millionaire who's made millions and lost the money more than once. And he wrote a book, Skipping the Line. I listened to it on Audible, and man, I give you guys, if you should listen to it. It's a long listen. Listen to it at 1.2 speed. You'll get through it quicker. But what I learned, he's talked about, he's repackaged stuff we've been talking about here on the show in a great book. You know, I've talked about U Squared and Quantum Leap by Price Pritchett, and I am up here in Maine waiting for my quantum leap to happen. And the thing is, quantum leaps don't happen. What's a quantum leap? And the easy way to dumb down the word quantum leap is skipping the line. I have been the warm-up comedian for 13 years. I know I have something bigger to offer the world. And you know what? Kissing the comedian bookers' butts, that's fine. But there's ways to get around this stuff. Like this guy, James Altucher. He wanted to be a comedian. He was doing a lot of open mic nights, working weird hours. What did he do? He bought half of Stand Up New York. That's how he skipped the line. He was tired of asking comedy club owners to let him perform on stage. So what did he do? He bought half the club and basically put himself on the show every night till he started getting good. So what Altucher talks about is you don't have to wait for your turn. You don't have to bet the farm either. You don't have to bet the farm and go crazy and put it all on black and then suddenly you double your money. His line is figure things you want to do and experiment with them. Do them differently every week. For me, I have been doing the podcast a few different ways. The numbers go up when I have celebrities. The numbers actually, I get a lot of positive response from when I have friends on the show, but the numbers seem to go down when I talk about, topical, fun, wacky topics. I don't know. So that brings me to this week's wild experiment. I am here alone. No sidekick. Nobody else. And the way I'm going to figure out if this is good is whether or not you write me a note, TomKellyShow@me.com, or comment on my social media at TomKellyShow on Instagram, Snapchat, Venmo. You know what? Nobody sent me $1 on Venmo to be funny in a long time. However you're listening, tell me what you think of this, me bearing my soul with a few jokes in between. Now, the problem with doing this show like this is I don't have other people bringing people in. Like when Lauren Ray's on the show, Lauren Ray fans will come in. Our regular listener, Jacob Lee Downey, found me through Christian Blatt being on the show. So that's the hard part. We'll figure out. I don't think I'll do the show alone every week, but maybe I can rehash some things. Maybe you can learn some things from me. I don't know. So I'm going to bare my soul and get some laughs. And at the end of the show, we will have my main revelation. And then I will talk about 3 things that will make you laugh. So bear with me, people. Go with me. Let's see where this goes. That's actually my friend Alia Zamel, who when I worked with her at Rosie O'Donnell, used to talk about how she would want to have a Tom Kelly doll. And the Tom Kelly doll would just say things that I said at work all the time. And the expressions were, just Google it. Just Google it. Check imdb.com. I'm not the office copy repairman. She and my friend Jenny Kramer used to make fun of me for that sort of stuff. But right now, she was saying my 2 expressions lately have been, let's see where this goes. Let's see where this goes. And that sort of sums up my life. My horoscope in the New York Post, which if you listen to one of the earliest Tom Kelly Show podcasts, my friend Greg Tufaro, who is on, he says the New York Post has pretty spot on horoscopes. Is that how you say it? Horoscopes or horoscopes? Horoscopes. I say horoscope. Anyway, Greg, I know him from the daytime talk shows. It's kind of hilarious, but he is brilliant at astrology. Greg predicted big career changes that would open me up in 2020. I did not expect those changes to be I would get laid off from 3 of my 4 jobs. And when I said, Greg, you said my career was going to take off in 2020. And then I got laid off. Dude, what the hell? And he's like, maybe that's it, Tom. Maybe that's it. Anyway, New York Post horoscope today, June 3rd, says 1 week away from my birthday, June 10th for you guys. My horoscope on June 3rd says, for Gemini, big changes are coming. You can feel it in your bones. And your most pressing concern is how can you make those changes work for you personally? To start with, be ruthlessly logical in your thinking, forget the dreams, and focus on what's possible. It's almost like they wrote that for me. It's almost like whoever the hell is writing this wrote it for me. Now listen, 95 to 99% of horoscopes out there are total BS. A lot of the radio shows, they read them off a fact sheet. They just read it off a website. My friend Brian Tedda, who is the executive producer at The View, he has told this story on television where he was the student editor for his student newspaper in college, and he would rewrite the weekly horoscope. Let's say the girl he had a crush on was a Gemini. He would rewrite Gemini so in ways to get this girl to be more receptive to his flirting. So like, Gemini, an old friend is going to ask you for dinner. You should say yes. I don't know if that's exactly what he did, but that's my impression of what he did, and that amuses me. So for me, I went to Maine. I'm all by myself. I'm in a cottage. I feel like in some ways I'm Jack Nicholson in The Shining. I'm on day 2 or 3 of my 11-day vacation. I'm in a town that people bring their kids to. I'm in a town that elderly Canadians come to for vacation. But for me, it's perfect. It's natural beauty. I want to wake up and look at the ocean every day. You know, and again, I haven't posted too many pictures at a vacation house because I'm afraid of being murdered. but for real, I mean, I was talking with my therapist, Dr. Cheryl, and she had a great line about me. She's like, Tom, you're too picky, but you know exactly what you want. And this is what I want. There's a little like front room where I set up my computer equipment. I can sit. You might even be able to hear the waves if you listen closely. You know, I have a room enough that I can do yoga, a spare bedroom to keep my clothes, and the main bedroom is close to the ocean and I can hear it. This is my vision for what I want many months a year because I can recorrect my energy. This is the opposite. Like in the city, I love the city and I need to be in the city to be close to the work. But when I go outside right now here in Maine, I see the ocean. I see people of actually all races and creeds going to the beach. A big African immigrant community up here coming to this beach. And when I go outside in New York City, I see the permanent homeless camper, Ethan Freckles. I don't like Ethan Freckles. I don't like going outside my apartment and seeing a guy camping. And he is like, if he has an Instagram, you can look him up, Ethan Freckles. He is not a real homeless guy. He is a crazy kid camping. And the problem is he's attracting the dangerous homeless guys living there. It's gone from, by the way, Ethan Freckles consumes an entire storefront worth of space. He has all these signs. And if you look at his Instagram, it's like, oh, I'm living simply. Oh, I'm living simply. Yeah, if you're living simply, why do you have 2 bikes, a barbecue, 3 chairs, and a whole chunk of boxes? You're consuming a quarter of a block. And I don't mind that, but he's attracting the dangerous guys. Like at the beginning of July last year, there was a guy who I call him heroin addicted Jesus. He was harassing an Asian lady. Now, I don't think it was technically an Asian hate crime, but he was yelling in her face, "You're going to die alone." And it was right in John Lennon's Strawberry Field. And right next to the Imagine mosaic, this guy's yelling in this 4-foot-tall Asian lady's face, "You're going to die. You're going to die." And I actually went up and again, I don't think, I'm not the kind of guy who gets into fistfights. Fistfights have gotten into me over the years, but I couldn't walk away from this lady being harassed, and I knew there was a chance I was going to get my ass kicked for it. So I went in, and at first I yelled, "Hey, stop that!" And then I said, and I knew to shift my energy, and I'm like, "Oh, that's my friend." And I pretended I was getting together with the little Asian lady. And then he's like, "I don't like being told what to do." And I'm like, "It's okay. I didn't mean to tell you what to do. I just want to catch up with my friend. Is that okay?" And he said yes, and he walked away. And then I sat with the Asian lady in fear, and I said, "Ma'am, do you mind if I sit with you for a few minutes because I don't want to have him see me walking away?" And anyway, that guy, thanks to Ethan Freckles, is now sunbathing outside my apartment 3 blocks away from where I first encountered him. You know, the problem with all problems is once you have one problem, it attracts 2 or 3. I mean, and Giuliani used to call this broken windows policing, and he's not wrong. You know, if you have one little piece of graffiti, then it makes it easier for the second person to put a piece of graffiti. You know, if one dog's barking, it makes it okay for the second dog to bark. And I don't mean to compare people to dogs, but God bless Ethan Freckles. And my big frustration with the city is they turned a payphone into an internet kiosk. So this kid, he's living on my street corner with a phone nicer than my father's and an internet account for Instagram, and we're providing free Wi-Fi. That's where my tax dollars are going. And that's what I see when I walk out the house every morning. And guess what? If I could find a way to perform every day and every night without being in New York City, I would probably leave the city. And I love the city. It's the city of my birth. You know, it's a part of my soul. You know, I mean, we're not sending cops to tell Ethan Freckles to move or to downsize. We sent over 2 social workers and a bodyguard. They talked to him. They offered hugs, and the guy bought more junk. A funnier one about a much more dangerous homeless encampment on the other side of my block that's gone now. God bless. They were, and the short version of the story, I don't want to be Tom Kelly hates the homeless guy, because I am sympathetic about the real mentally ill who are on the street. I am sympathetic about the real impoverished. But then there's also a bunch of drug users who are just camping outside. They just are. And the more dangerous encampment that was down the block, where a guy grabbed me and tried to make out with me late one night when I walked past it. And they were, anyway, they were also kind of funny at times. But they got rid of all their stuff one day. They cleaned out the encampment. It was a quarter of a block, if not half a block worth of junk and mattresses and whatnot. After weeks of being counseled, eventually sanitation came, took their stuff, threw it all out. And God bless, they were back with more junk 15 minutes later, and they had a trampoline. And there was one guy who actually amused me. This guy is definitely mentally ill and on drugs, but the guy who, he looked like a 1960s hipster, and he was jumping up and down on the trampoline, white guy, yelling out, "I am Whoopi Goldberg." Now, in that case, that guy's ill. You know, I don't know. I want to be careful of expressing these opinions too loud, because I may get canceled for it. But I feel like, but anyway, but the point I'm saying is, when I walk out my house in the city every morning, the first thing I think about when I walk down the 5 flights to go outside is I say, wow, I'm a bad Catholic, because I have such conflicted opinions. Now, you're probably saying, Tom, what's the difference between Ethan Freckles and your friend Nikki Delventhal, who's been living in a Prius, who you've been talking about? Nikki Delventhal in her Prius, she moves around after 2 or 3 days. She goes to different places, and she's in places where camping is acceptable. And she's only consuming her Prius. That's all the space she's consuming. This kid's got half a block. You know, Nikki drives around. Nikki camps. Okay, what's his name? Ethan Freckles just stays in his damn spot. You know, Nikki has boobs. Ethan has bed bugs. There you go. That's the joke. I'm going to answer that call in a minute. See, I'll call him in a minute. There you go. That's my buddy Chris Delenick calling me. See, that's the other nice thing. I have one good friend up here. My best friend from college. Chris is up here, and he has been taking care of me. Thank God. I don't know if they listen to the podcast. This will be the test. Thank God to him and his wife, Dr. Michelle Delenick, for putting up with my craziness and opening me up to nature and Maine, because they've opened my energy up. They've opened me up for a breakthrough, and now I'm back to being positive again. I am up here to skip the line. I'm up here for my quantum leap. I was becoming a crazy person. My energy was blocked. The city that I love has been fighting me, and I need to work around it. I think in my dream scenario, I have my apartment. By the way, the landlord wants me to sign a new lease. You know, part of me wants to get the nicer place, but I don't know where the hell I'm going to be working in September. And then there's part of me that realized, actually, I came to realization. I've told you guys, I'm spending more than my car is worth to garage the car. Blue Book value on the Volvo, $399. I am spending that per month to garage the car. And I did the math. Had I been garaging the car in the city for the last 10 years, I'd have spent 50 grand. I have an extra 50 grand in my pocket right now, because I've always kept my car at my mother's house. But that's been an inconvenience, you know? But 10 years later, that's $50,000. That's, you know, these things add up. So you're right. If I spend an extra $300 to garage the car, and you spend an extra $300 for the apartment with a better view and better sunlight and better energy, you know, that's $100 grand over 10 years. You know, I don't know. So I'm going to telecommute for as long as I can. I am available for Zoom shows, by the way. If you want to entertain your friends, I'm still available for that. Weight-wise, I am still at the 15, 16 pound mark. I have hit a plateau on weight loss. I'm still doing the North Star dating technique, or the North Star weight loss technique, which was I took the picture of a woman whom I find beautiful and made her my screen cap for the first few weeks of my dieting. And every time I thought I would eat a pint of ice cream, I would look at her picture. And as Logan Yuri called it on our How to Not Die Alone episode, she said, Tom, that is creepy but effective. And I'm naming that technique, the North Star weight loss / fitness technique. My advice to you guys at home, find somebody that you're, for the single people, who are you attracted to that you're not attracting? Put their picture on the phone, and then maybe before you eat the fatty food, you look at that picture and say, I'm not going to do that. Or maybe I think my technique is also flawed and I got to start changing the picture for my North Star dating technique. Or my North Star, blah, see, this is where I'm getting tired. My North Star weight loss technique. Years ago, and I've talked about my unicorn, Holly. When I was talking to Holly every day, you know, on Skype or whatever, I would use her because she was very athletic. I would use her as my incentive to do the extra 5 push-ups, to lift the extra weight, to swim the extra laps. Then, you know, eventually things fell apart there. And I'll do a longer version of this story later, but I lost my teeth. My teeth got knocked out. I then decided I am going to make this the best thing in my life. Started doing triathlons, and a girl I was in love with from my hometown was in my triathlon group. And I thought, this is why God knocked my teeth out. So I can get into shape, and I'm going to get into the best shape possible. I'm going to play the long game with this girl, and I will be in such good shape by July that she will have no choice but to date me. And she was my North Star. And in the end, things with Holly didn't work out. And with the Triathlon Girl, I wound up introducing her to the man she would wind up marrying. You know? Creepy but effective. It's the lie that gets you going. So what I need to do a little bit right now is, 1, I need to have fun and be a human being again. And 2, I need to diversify the lies that get me going. That might be another t-shirt, Jacob Lee Downey. The lie that gets you going. What is your thing? What is your North Star? And the thing with the North Star, the thing with chasing a North Star is you never get to the North Star, but it pulls you in a direction. You know, what is the magnet that has been pulling you into that direction? So one last deep thing. My main revelations have been, instead of getting mad at people, I am going to pray for them. I'm going to try to do that. I had that revelation while walking on the beach. And in the words of Dr. Cheryl, I'm picky about what I want, but I know what I want. And I am trying to quiet myself to hear the voice of God, whatever that means to you. Whether it be the universe, the voice of myself, I'm trying to quiet myself so I can hear that. You know, on the voice of God, I don't know if I can. We're at minute 30, and I really don't want to edit the show. See, this is where I could use a sidekick. I am very frustrated. Part of me thinks I just hit the moment where I should end the show and just say, guys, share the episode if you can. Comment and tell me what you think of the episode so far. Do I really want to ruin this with a rant about why are we giving dogs people's names? I'm not recording with video. I'm not doing any promos for this week's show. But why are we giving dogs people's names? You know, I know a baby named Lucky. I know a baby named Brooklyn. And my friend Chris Delenick has named his dogs Franklin and Stella. Those are people's names. I met a dog named Lucy this week. Why are we giving dogs people names? And why are we giving people dogs names? And why aren't we just naming dogs Karen? I think that would be hilarious if we named a dog Karen after a year of hating on Karens and the type. Hey, we could actually yell out, Karen, heel. Karen, sit. Karen, jump. Karen, bad dog. And then, honestly, I met somebody who has given their dog a middle name, Lucy Elaine O'Donnell. What about Lucy Scrappy Doo O'Donnell? Does your dog have a middle name? Comment. Let me know. Facebook.com/TomKellyShow. I will put that question up. Does your dog have a middle name? And I'm just going to, you know what? I'm going to cut out the topic. Maybe I'll do something different next week, but this is your chance. Right now, this moment, audience, This is your chance to shape the show. I'm here looking at the beach all by myself. I've talked for 30 minutes straight. No audience, no Instagram Live. What did you think of the show? Was I compelling? TomKellyShow at me.com if you want to write me directly, comment on any of my social, or send me a message on any of my social. And if you like the show, share it. And if you don't like it, tell me. I actually can handle the criticism. I'm really at this point, I don't know if you're an audience or you're my target audience, but I feel like with your interaction, like I was saying about James Altucher's book, at the top of the show, or in the top third of the show, is this is the experiment. I did something different. I've taken a risk, and you are going to tell me, did the risk pay off? My name is Tom Kelly. Good night, Portland.